concept of sleep is simple enough, but the act of actually sleeping can be incredibly complicated for many. This week, I talk with sleep consultant Martha Lewis, who makes the case for why it's brave to make sleep a priority. That's right, you heard me. It's brave to get good sleep. Here are just a few of the things that Martha and I talk about, really, really awesome takeaways from what you're about to enjoy. The first one is that sleeping well is an essential self-care practice. Without sleep, it's hard to do anything of value. It's hard to be brave, motivated. It's even hard to be grateful. And the choice to step back and take care of yourself can be a very difficult one. Doing so is in of itself a brave action. Stress and lack of sleep often go hand in hand. If you're struggling with insomnia, check in with yourself about it. Why? What are you stressed about? What can you deal with or process that's getting in the way of a good night's rest? Stress in general means any time where we feel like we can't handle what life's throwing at us with the resources that we have available to us. It is not something to just blow off as a casual thing. You want to make sure you're dealing with the root problem. And finally, sleep helps you take better care of yourself and everyone else. So if you actually want to be really wonderful at caregiving or serving your clients, your family, or your loved ones, you have to put yourself first on occasion and make sure you're getting enough rest. All right, now let's start the show.
Consciousness, journey, rebirth.
This is Heather Vickery, and you're listening to The Brave Files, stories from people living courageously. When we choose bravely in big and small ways, it powerfully elevates our lives. I hope these stories connect with you and encourage you to embrace bravery in every possible way, day after day. Together, we can build a movement of courageous living that enriches both our lives and our communities. And if you enjoy the show, I ask you to please share it with others. Maybe think of someone who you want to choose bravely right alongside you. Thanks for tuning in. Now here's the show. Hey everybody, it's Heather Vickery. Welcome to this week's episode of the Brave Files podcast. I'm so happy to have y'all here with me. Have you ever been so tired that your brain literally won't function? It's okay. So have I. I may actually be like that right now. This is very good timing. Today's guest knows how you and I feel, and she's here to share with us why we don't have to actually live like this. How cool is that? Martha Lewis is a successful sleep expert, consultant. See, I told you I was tired. Blogger and speaker. And I think that's cool because until I met Martha, I didn't even know such a thing existed. After struggling with her own sleep and finding the key to a better night's rest, she created her own program. I mean, why not, right? It's called the Complete Sleep Solution Program. And she helps busy professionals who are struggling with their sleep to get the rest they need so that they can make a difference, the difference that they want to make in the world. Martha, when we first spoke, you said to me that without sleep, it's hard to be brave and motivated and to get out of your comfort zone. That taking care of yourself by getting the sleep you need is a brave self-care move, and it helps you take better care of everyone else, including your family. Right on, sister. Welcome to the Brave Files.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It is brave. I want to just spend a second with that because we talk about this every week. There are a million ways to choose bravely every day. And Martha, you're telling us it's brave to sleep well.
Totally. It helps you be brave in life when you're getting the sleep you need. And choosing that can sometimes be really hard. And you do have to be brave to choose to take care of yourself to better take care of the others around you.
Yeah, I agree. But I think today I needed to hear from you. Like, take this brave step and sleep, Heather. No, I love it. I actually value my sleep. I really do not function if I don't get like 8 hours. I'm not even a 7-hour. I'm an 8-hour sleeper. So this is not about me. I'm just saying in general, like, I don't know how often I know some folks who regularly, some people on Team Brave who are like up every day at 4 a.m. I'm like, how the hell? Like I would be passed out by 4 p.m. if I was up at 4 a.m. Not that I only stay awake for 12 hours. So this journey started for you. Was it after you had your baby when you were a new mother? When did this journey start?
It did, yeah, mostly start after having my son, who was not a great sleeper. And so I ended up getting help for his sleep and then decided to become a sleep consultant myself for other parents to help with their babies and kids' sleep.
Okay. So you hired somebody to help you while he slept? Explain that to me.
Well, I read 10 books about baby sleep while I was nursing and bouncing him to sleep. And they all said something different and I didn't know what to do. I also didn't want him to cry. But by the time I spent a couple days crying all day long because I didn't see any way out, I decided that wasn't good for him either. So it was really nice to hire someone to walk me through what we call sleep training. And it's pretty much the program I did is giving him the space to learn his own independent sleep skills so that he falls asleep on his own. And then as he transitions through sleep cycles in the night, as we all do, then he can just easily go back to sleep instead of waking up and needing me to put him back to sleep.
Right. Okay. So I'm familiar with sleep training for kids.
Yeah.
And I kind of have a general sort of no judgment on whatever makes it okay for you to live your life and parent rule.
Yeah,
we did not sleep train. That was not, but we didn't, I had sleepers. I had good sleepers, so I can't even go there. But that doesn't mean as parents, as adults, you don't have to be a parent, we sleep well. And so I'd love to know how you can do better as an adult to sleep. So for example, as a mom, I hear everything. Doesn't matter how sound asleep I am. If somebody's toe touches the floor in the middle of the night, I'm like, who's awake? And then I wait to hear the footsteps and I'm like, oh, that one's awake. I can tell by the way they walk. Everything wakes me up. Even if I'm sound asleep, I hear all the things.
Yeah, a lot of moms say that. So that's definitely a tough thing. I think I got into helping adults because even after my son was sleeping, I still wasn't sleeping. So now that he sleeps great and I sleep great, I don't hear all those things. And I only realize it like when we go somewhere and share a room with him, that I'm like, oh yeah, he, wakes up in his sleep and kind of cries out sometimes or, just makes some noise that I'm not even aware of when we're at home sleeping in separate rooms.
It's impressive. And he gets himself back to sleep. So that's good.
Oh yeah.
So can you share with all of us, why is sleep so important and how important is it?
It's so important. I like to think of it from an evolutionary perspective that if we evolved millions of years still needing 8 hours of sleep on average, there must be good reason for it, right? Like for us,
story. Yeah.
Yeah. For us to be able to spend a third of our life completely somewhat unconscious, vulnerable to predators and not have evolved out of it. So to me, that just shows the importance of it. It has so many functions that we're just now learning. It's kind of this very recent revolution, learning about the importance of sleep and all the functions it has. But first of all, they're linking so many chronic diseases to being sleep deprived. So
Can you give us some examples?
Yeah. So for long-term health, you're more likely to get things like Alzheimer's, depression, diabetes, heart disease, even cancer. All of these things are linked to getting fewer than 7 hours of sleep a night. So significant long-term health.
Is it about sleeping well or sleeping enough?
Well, it's both. The quality of sleep definitely matters, as does the amount. So even if you're sleeping 9 hours a night and not feeling rested the next day, then something's going on, right? And that's not good for you either. But to consistently just, as many people do these days, like not prioritize sleep and, constantly sleep less than you should be, then that's going to add up.
Okay.
And then in the short term, there's so many reasons why we sleep. We need it to be focused, to be productive, to be positive, to be efficient. There's so many, to be in a good mood.
Right. I do.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. What is your stance on the power nap?
I think the power nap is great. I mean, naps are actually shown to increase productivity and focus. And it's funny, that's what I posted about this week on my social media stuff was about the naps. Yeah.
Yeah. I have only in the last year or two learned to say, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I can't keep my eyes open with a toothpick. I'm going to lay down and set a timer for 15 minutes. And then I can actually, my partner is like, how in the world do you do this? I literally can fall right to sleep and sleep 15 minutes and then wake up and be better.
Yeah, good for you.
But that's hard to learn to do.
It is. And we have this normal dip in our circadian rhythm after lunch, which is why so many cultures historically took a nap or siesta after lunch, because you have this lull and it's easy to then just, that's when you want the cup of coffee or the pastry or whatever to give you energy and wake you up, when it'd actually be better if you take a quick nap and rejuvenate yourself and then be ready to, to keep working again.
Yeah. So fascinating. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your journey with difficulty in sleep, and then what led you to becoming a sleep expert, and then share some tips on how people can get better rest.
Sure. So like I mentioned, even when my son was sleeping and sleeping through the night at 6 months old, I still wasn't sleeping. So that meant I was trying to go to bed early because I was so exhausted, and then I would take forever to fall asleep. And then I would wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and not be able to go back to sleep until 6, when it was pretty much time to get up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my insomnia actually started in late pregnancy, which I figured was just hormones and there was nothing I can do about it. But it was even continuing, long after that, really for a good year and a half, until I finally decided to do something about it. And luckily, the woman I trained with for baby sleep also offered an adult sleep certification program. So I decided to take that, even though I was very skeptical, because I was already practicing as a baby sleep consultant. I already knew a lot about sleep. But it turns out that I did need to make multiple changes to my habits, to kind of the timing of things I was doing, to my activity levels, to finally get back to sleeping great again, just like I used to. And so then I was really excited to help other adults who are struggling to sleep as well. And then I always had this thought in the back of my head, though, that what if someone has something going on health-wise that is keeping them from sleeping? Like what I've learned so far may not be enough. Yes, the foundations of looking at diet and exercise and stress and mindset about sleep, all those are very important. But luckily I had the opportunity to train this past fall and learn about testing for underlying health issues that affect sleep. And so that's something I've added to my program now, so that we can actually get to the root cause. Because, there are people who are like, I follow all the sleep rules. And we probably know some of them, not watching screens before bed and not eating a huge meal before bed and, kind of basic things like that. And these people are doing all those things and still not sleeping. And that's because there's something then physiological going on.
Yeah. So what's physiological? How do we figure it out? Like, I'm hearing him like, yeah, I'm waiting for more. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. So, okay. But what the hell does that mean?
Well, the tests I look at are gut health. So having leaky gut, anything that causes inflammation or stress in your body causes your body to release cortisol, which is our stress hormone, which we don't want to have any of that released at night because it suppresses melatonin and is going to wake you up. But if you have, say, an unhealthy gut, if you have a parasite in your gut, that
sounds terrible.
I know, right? That creature is nocturnal, and so it's at night that they're eating and excreting and releasing toxins and causing inflammation. And then your body releases cortisol to deal with that inflammation because it's anti-inflammatory, and you're awake. So testing for those kinds of things is very common that people have that are keeping them from sleeping. Also, thyroid issues, hormone imbalances, food sensitivities.
So where do people go to get tested for stuff like this?
Well, the program I do, I actually send the tests to them so they can do them in the comfort of their own home and mail them back when they're ready. So you don't have to go to a lab or a doctor's office to do those.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. So for you in serving people and doing this kind of work and in your own journey to get a better handle on your sleep, what would you say is the most difficult thing?
Well, I think dealing and managing stress is a huge component for so many people. Even if there is something else, health-wise going on, still everyone I work with, we're dealing with stress because, stress keeps us awake at night. It's overwhelming. It's when we feel like we can't handle everything with the resources that we have. So stress management is also a huge part of what I do.
Yeah. You know what's been manifesting for me lately is I can go to sleep and I can sleep through the night and I'm doing fine. But that I call it like that dream wake state where you're not awake, but you're fully aware. And sometimes I call it my monkey brain. And my monkey brain will start 2 hours before my alarm is supposed to go off. Mm-hmm. And like by the time my alarm goes off, I'm in full blown like work mode because my brain has been processing, but I don't have notes. And then I'm like trying to struggle. Like, what did I just think about? What do I have to do? I have to start right now instead of normally. I'm very good at systems, right? I coach people on this. I'm very good at writing out what you need to do and having a good list at the end of the day and, packaging all that up and journaling and doing your gratitude. And I have a morning ritual and all of that. But my brain has got a whole other plan for me lately.
Right. Well, it's tricky because we spend more time in light sleep and REM sleep, that dream sleep, toward the morning. So it is somewhat normal, that like half aware state that you're talking about.
Okay.
But yeah, it is a matter of managing your stress during the day so that monkey brain isn't happening, in the night when you want to be sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. So what should somebody's first step be to getting a handle on? I would venture to say that most people who listen would say that they're tired or sluggish or have some issues with this. So where do we start?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, pretty much everything during the day sets us up for how we're going to sleep at night. So I like to start, you talk about a morning routine. I actually think that's really important that you wake up in the morning not immediately stressed and raising your cortisol levels really high, because then it's hard to lower them throughout the day. So instead, starting in this relaxing way, like I like to walk my dog and meditate and write what I'm grateful for, those kinds of things. And so starting like that. And then how we eat is important for sleep as well. So you want to start your day with definitely protein and fat for breakfast, as well as some complex carbohydrates.
Okay.
But you pretty much don't want to go for coffee and a pastry, because that is going to spike your blood sugar levels.
But the coffee?
Well, the coffee's okay. But maybe not just, caffeine and sugar.
Right.
Caffeine and refined
caffeine
carbs.
And protein instead.
Yeah, exactly. Just because if you start your day off with high blood sugar, that's then going to drop and then going to spike again, then you're on this roller coaster all day.
Right.
And then if you're on that roller coaster into the night, then when your blood sugar drops too low in the night, your body releases cortisol and it wakes you right up.
Okay.
So yeah, you want to keep your blood sugar levels level throughout the day to sleep better at night.
That's fascinating. That I've not heard. I mean, I know you want to keep your blood sugar levels level, period.
Right.
But I hadn't heard it as it relates to sleep.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like we talked about, the managing your stress. So that might be taking recovery breaks every 90 minutes where you take 10 minutes off. And, as you're probably well aware, we can't really focus for much longer than that anyway. So it's a good time to take a break. But just make sure that that's a rejuvenating break that's not necessarily scrolling through social media or, making phone calls. That's not exactly relaxing. So
yeah. Should it be relaxing or can it be a walk? Is it just like sort of an emotional or mental detachment from something?
Yeah, a walk is great for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's not necessarily relaxing, but it's disengaging, I guess.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Or some deep breathing, like, anything that you can imagine lowering your cortisol levels. So that's why I kind of say relaxing, but a walk is, in some ways, like it's stress relieving, is going to lower those cortisol levels and get you outside, which is even better.
I know.
Because that's an important part too, is that we get sunshine during the day. And then we really minimize artificial lights in the evening as our body prepares to go to bed.
Yeah. The artificial light is hard. Every light is artificial at night.
Exactly.
So,
But
yeah.
But dimming the lights, there are now light bulbs you can buy that you can either set to be bright light during the day and, redder light at night, or you can just buy blue light blocking light bulbs that you just turn on at night, or you can wear blue light blocking glasses. But just dimming the lights.
That's intense.
Yeah.
That's intense, the glasses. I might not be ready for that.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
But if you weren't sleeping well consistently, you might be more open to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I suppose if I wasn't sleeping at all, then you would do like just about anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, as you've gone through this process, both for yourself and for clients, what do you find is the biggest pleasant surprise?
I think the coolest thing is that sleep or not sleeping is a symptom of something bigger going on. And that is our busy lifestyles. And so I'm kind of giving people permission to take these breaks during the day, to prioritize their self-care is a lot of it. So that's why I think the coolest thing is, then people are getting into things like meditation or finally going to yoga class that they know that they want to go to, but they keep not doing it because it hasn't been a priority. So it's like prioritizing other things in life that are actually most important.
Yeah. That's so much the work that I do. The Brave method that I teach and the people that I connect with in our Intentionally Brave Entrepreneurs group is how to get those priorities straight, how to figure out what they are, and then build your life around them instead of building everything else around what you think your life is supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's fascinating. So what are your personal daily grounding rituals?
Well, I already told you about my morning routine.
Yes.
I definitely have an evening routine too. So the hour or so before bed, I cannot work on my computer past 9 o'clock.
I can't even go that far. 7 o'clock and I'm all done.
That's good. That's best. 9 is definitely my latest, and sometimes it still bothers me. So at that point, it's, if I was on my computer, no more. And so then I'm reading or taking a bath, or I always meditate before bed as well. So it's kind of like sandwiching your day, starting off relaxing and finishing it relaxing, and kind of getting everything out of your brain too. Like that's what I think meditation does for me more than anything is it lets those thoughts just go in your head, but you're not really following them. And it just kind of gets everything out so that then you're not doing that at 4 a.m.
Yeah. Okay. Love that.
Yeah.
If folks wanted to do one thing today, like they're listening to this episode and they're like, oh, what's one thing I can do to sleep better tonight? What would it be?
I would definitely say it's to take steps to manage your stress. So whether that is meditating or taking these breaks during the day or having this morning and bedtime routine.
Okay.
Because all of those things like stress raises cortisol. Obviously, it's our stress hormone. And so,
right.
So it's just going to add to anything else you have going on. Even if you do have underlying health stuff going on that's causing stress, adding external stress on top of that is only going to put it over the top, possibly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's the first thing I would say to do, which I know is easier said than done. And is definitely also, sometimes a little more complicated than just these basic things. But I would start there. Like, take time for yourself every day. Don't be in that stress response every single second of the day.
Yeah, folks, get a handle on that. No, really. You should work to get a handle on it. That's what I help people do also, is come up with better systems so that the stress isn't eating you alive and keeping you from sleeping and functioning and all of that fun stuff.
Exactly.
I get to ask the question. I love this question. I like the question is about celebration. And I'm thinking right now, like when you were at your most sleep deprived, was there could you even connect with celebration?
No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Right? Like you can't find this, in order to celebrate all the wins, the little ones and the big ones, you have to see them.
Exactly.
And when you're super sleep deprived, everything feels awful.
Yeah, and you're just barely making it through every day. You're not contemplating or, or
Yeah.
anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't ever really thought of that. So often I hear people say they don't celebrate as much as they wish they did because they move so fast that they don't take the time to slow down and recognize something's been good. And I hadn't thought of it from a just lack of knowledge that there's something to celebrate because you're so exhausted. So how do you like to celebrate?
Well, recently I've started getting a pedicure.
I love it. Once a month I go for a pedicure.
Yeah, exactly. And my husband and I, we don't get to go out to dinner that often anymore. So now our big celebration is when we go out to dinner. Like he just got a bonus and I booked a few clients in a day. And so it's like, okay, we're going out to dinner next week. And so that was really fun. And so I'm definitely trying to do that more is to, is to celebrate, and you're right. It doesn't have to be big, but even the little things as well.
Yeah. If you pause to think about it for the little things throughout the day, when you check your stuff off your list or you get a great testimonial from a client or you serve somebody and it just feels awesome. What do? Do you recognize it and do you like speak it to the universe or acknowledge it or celebrate in any way?
Yeah. I mean, that's what my gratitude journal is for in the morning that I do.
Yeah.
Is those
love that.
kind of little things like, yeah.
Yeah. Gratitude journal, y'all. If you're not on it, get on it. Shift your focus or grow grateful. We'll just link to them here. Those are both of my gratitude books and journals. But you can do it in a lot of different ways, but they help because they're guided. Do you have a guided gratitude journal or do you use a blank journal?
I just use a blank one now. But,
Yeah.
There is a 5-minute journal. I know you have a couple journals, which is cool. So they can definitely be helpful. But I've just been doing it for a while, so it's kind of easy for me to just write a few things down.
It's not easy for everybody to journal from a blank page. I'm one of those people, despite the fact that I've been writing most of my life. I don't like a blank page. I like a prompt. I like a something.
Nice.
So I do have prompts in my journal. Y'all can check those out. All right. Well, I just think this has been so fascinating because I appreciate the opportunity to find yet another way that we can all step into bravery and for sure getting enough sleep, knowing your cues, setting up your own personal rituals and systems to help you sleep more successfully and even, take those quick little naps in the middle of the day instead of that cup of coffee. If you can take 5-10 minutes to close your eyes. I think all of that is so great. If folks wanted to ask you more questions, how would they reach you?
Yes. Well, my website is thecompletesleepsolution.com. And I have a couple fun free ebooks on there too. So, if you're interested in learning more about the underlying health issues or about things you can do in the middle of the night if you aren't sleeping.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Complete Sleep Solution as well.
Cool. Yeah. Everybody check it out. We could all use those tips. Those ebooks sound amazing to me. I love that. So before I let you go, Martha, I'd love to hear what your favorite charitable organization is to support.
Well, for an international one, I've been supporting the Unstoppable Foundation.
Okay, tell us more.
Yeah, so they help villages in Africa, and they set out to help them with education, and especially girls get an education. And then they realized that these girls were traveling, 10 hours a day to go get water, for example. And so there's no way their families could send them to school if, then they weren't going to be able to get water for the family. So then they decided that they were going to help with having clean water. And then they realized that, these girls need food, obviously, and their families need food. And so they've just built this 5 pillars of helping with not only education, but clean water and food and nutrition and healthcare. And then also income training for for the kids, for the girls, and for their parents as well. So they've just,
that's so cool.
Addressed all the concerns there.
I love that. I think that's awesome. So folks, every week I ask you to go and check them out. They'll be our charity of the week. If you can learn more, share them. If you have any resources to give, time, money, even if it's social media likes, things like that, let's do this, right? Let's work together to make the world a stronger, better, kinder, happier place together. We're called to that mission. So I love it. Martha, will you share your 3 words with us one last time?
Consciousness, journey, rebirth.
I think those are fantastic words. I'm feeling you on consciousness and journey. Share a little bit of why you picked the word rebirth.
Well, when I tell my story, a lot of times I say it from my life changed when I had my son. So it was giving birth to my son that has set me on this crazy different path than what I was doing before. So that's why his birth has been my rebirth, not only as a mom, but as a person on my journey as well.
All right. I totally dig that. I love it. I think that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. So listeners, this has been such a great little resource, right? Great little conversation where you know that you don't have to be tired all the time. You don't have to feel sluggish. There are things you can do. And maybe it's not just that you're not getting enough sleep. Maybe there's something wrong with food sensitivity, higher levels of stress. Maybe there's something going on in your gut, right? So take some action, some intentional and well-planned action to figure out why you're not sleeping well. Because once you start sleeping well, you're going to be a happier, healthier version of you, and that's going to have a domino effect for everyone around you. That means you'll be happier, have more money, and be more successful. That's how important sleep is. Martha, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much, Heather.
This was a lot of fun. Folks, if you have thoughts or feedback on this interview, this conversation, or you want to tell us how you're out choosing bravely, I would love to have you give us a call, 312-646-0205. I listen to those calls on my own, and I respond to every single one. So do not hesitate to reach out. And we would love to have you join our Brave community by becoming a member on Patreon. If you visit patreon.com/bravefiles, you can learn all about the different tiers and the prizes and what we have available for you. And it will go a long way into helping us continue to do the work we're doing. So thanks so much for being here with us. I can't wait to talk to you next week. This is Heather Vickery reminding you today and always to go out and choose bravely. Hey friends, I want to share something really exciting with you. We already know you enjoy listening to podcasts because you're listening to this one, but I'm also betting you enjoy audiobooks. And hey, listen, if you don't already enjoy audiobooks, then it's time to check them out. That's why I'm really excited to share Libro.fm with you. They are an incredible new platform for listening to audiobooks. And by choosing Libro.fm over other audiobook services, you are supporting a local bookstore of your choice and investing in your local community. Libro.fm offers over 150,000 audiobooks via their primary platform, which, by the way, they built with love and from scratch because they're a small business also. They even offer bookseller recommendations for great audiobook options. You can sign up right now via www.vickeryandco.com/LibroFM. That's vickeryandco.com/LIBROFM. And when you do, you'll get one free audiobook of your choice, and the proceeds will go to your favorite local bookstore. Now, check what I just said there. You're going to get a free book, and the proceeds are still going to go to your local bookstore because Libro.fm makes sure that their booksellers get paid even when they give a promo to customers. I've listened to over 20 audiobooks this year alone. I especially love listening to memoirs read by the author, and it feels great knowing that all of my purchases support my local bookstore, The Book Table, in Oak Park, Illinois. Libro.fm. The same audiobooks, the same price, but a completely different story. Check them out right now at vickeryandco.com/LibroFM. Have you ever thought about starting a podcast? Maybe you've had this thought and then quickly shut it down because who has the time? Or you don't know how, or gosh, it just all seems too hard. If you have something to share with the world, we want to encourage you to get your message out. The world needs to hear it. Did you know that 50% of all homes are podcast fans? If you've ever wondered about having your own podcast or how it can increase your business or get your message across, then please join me and the other experts from the Podcast Power Academy for our monthly free Q&A session. It's called So You Want to Start a Podcast? This casual live conversation will help you understand how podcasting can be a great decision, why now is the best time to get started, and how to get into action with it. Visit podcastpoweracademy.com to learn more. You've been listening to The Brave Files, stories of people living courageously. To learn more about the show, find our show notes and full episode transcripts, or to get some great bonus content, visit thebravefilespodcast.com. And we would love to know what you think of the show. You can give us a call at 312-646-0205. Let us know your thoughts on the episode, the show in general, or maybe share with us how you're out choosing bravely. This episode is brought to you by Vickery & Co. Success Coaching. Coaching that helps you maintain a life well lived and a business well run. Learn more at vickeryandco.com. Our music was created and produced in a custom collaboration with Matt Lewis from ML Creative Consulting, a boutique firm dedicated to helping clients identify their unique sound and amplify their brand with custom delivered soundtracks. We couldn't do any of this without our extraordinary audio engineer, Andrew Olson. Learn more about him and check out his work at findandrewolson.com. And special thanks to everyone on Team Brave, from our producers, associate producers, copy editors, writers, and support team. Special thanks to Molly, Mary, Kim, Sabra, and Sabrina. I'm your host and executive producer, Heather Vickery. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.